The 308 Winchester is the 30-06 in a shorter package. Right or wrong? Wrong. Hi, Ron Spomer here to disprove the theory that the 308 Winchester does exactly what the 30-06 does, only in a smaller package. Yeah, maybe, sorta, not quite. I'm sorry, guys, but this argument's been going on for a long, long time, and I get it. I appreciate you 308 Winchester fans. It is a great little all-around cartridge. It just doesn't quite live up to the hype that it sometimes gets. It really is not as fast or powerful as the 30-06, and you can see that by looking at them. Now, one of the arguments that I get all the time is that, yeah, but the 308 has a higher average chamber pressure of 62,000 psi. This one's only 60,000. That's why it goes just as fast. Well, that's good, that's true, but it's not accurate. It doesn't go just as fast, but it comes darn close. So I think the arguments are going to continue as to which one is the better one, which one is the more fun to hunt with or shoot or something. But really, let's just look at basic physics here and reality and find out what these things will do. Now, one of the ways to do it is with factory ammunition, because everybody loads for both of these. You can find a lot of options and a lot of bullet weights. Generally, 125 grains at the low end up to about 180. Now, you can get a few 200 grain loads in the 308, you get a few more in the 30-06, and you can get some 220 grain loads in the 30-06 and not in the 308, unless you're a hand loader. If you're a hand loader, by golly, you can start with a 100 grain plinker bullet and go all the way up to 230 grains, maybe even 250, certainly 220. The twist rates will handle it on that 30-06, but you rarely see anything heavier than a 200 grain bullet in the 308. And when you do, it is usually a subsonic load. That one's pretty popular. It's a subsonic big heavy bullet going slow, so you don't have the sound signature. A lot of feral hog hunters like to use it. Obviously, some of the military folks take some advantages with that too, but 30-06 is more of a hunting cartridge. Even though it started off as our official military round in 1906, it has become so popular all around the world that it is now largely considered to be a grand all-around hunting cartridge. So here's what it is capable of doing. Now, both of them will shoot a 125 grain bullet, and you can find a few loads from the factories with that. I listed them here on this chart. You can look at it when we flash it up. You'll notice that not all of them have the 125 grain available in both. Some of them do. The upshot is, how fast is the 30-06 compared to the 308 on these? On average, not a lot faster. When you don't have a big bullet sticking into the powder reservoir, you get full advantage out of that little 308. It's with the heavier bullets and longer bullets that start protruding into it that the 30-06 has an advantage because of the bigger case and the more powder. But with 125s, even on your hand loads, the factory loads you really can't count on to be consistent, because the manufacturer will have a test barrel and he'll give an average pressure and average velocity for that barrel. That might not be the same in your gun. It might not be the same from lot to lot of the ammunition they're loading. And obviously you look at these numbers and different factories are loading to different velocities. So you never know exactly what you're going to get. It always pays to use a chronograph to find out for sure. So to be fair on these, what I did was went to the hand load manuals and I found the fastest load I could for each of them, suggesting that they were at least safe in their rifles. They're recommending it. So the difference was 125 feet per second more velocity out of the 30-06 if you're hand loading it properly. That's what the loading manual said. So once again, I got to go with the 30-06. Even though you got more pressure here, you really can drive your bullets a little faster with the 30-06. But not a lot of guys hunt with a 125 grain bullet. Let's go to the 150. I think that's optimum for the 308. What does it do? Once again, you can look at all these different brands and loads and look at the comparisons, and some of them are identical. Some of them have the advantage going to the 30-06. One of them, the Fiocchi load, even has the speed advantage going to the 308, which is kind of crazy. But you never know what they're doing for their loading. Once again, go to the hand loading manuals, and I didn't find a lot of difference there either, guys. Here's where your 308 win guys can really take a blue ribbon. You guys win this one because there's only an average of 29 feet per second advantage to the 30-06 in the hand loads. Once again, your hand loading might crank out a faster 308 than your 30-06, depending on your load, your rifle, and all the rest of it. Now, go to the heavier bullets. I think 165 to 168 grain bullet is the optimum in the 30-06. It's got the horsepower to push that bullet. You got the high BCs and all the advantages. You're seeing an average of about 100 feet per second advantage to that one in the 30-06. Starting to get a little bit too much bullet for that little powder capacity in that 308 to push. Once again, we go to the hand loads, and you got a 98 foot per second advantage with the 30-06 version. Study those numbers, guys. I don't know, numbers don't lie, or well, maybe the numbers lie, but if you're chronographing them and you get those numbers, there you go. You've got a slight advantage in the 30-06. Go to the 180 grain bullets, a little bit more advantage, an average of 105 feet per second velocity advantage out of the 30-06 loads. That's again with that hand load manual. Now, we're going to really see a difference with 200 grain. 200 grain bullets getting really long, and it's really heavy, and that poor little 308 just does not have the powder reservoir to push it. So it starts to suffer. Look at the difference on that hand load. 238 feet per second advantage to the 30-06. That's where your 308 really starts to suffer. And if you go up to a 220 grain bullet, you can't even find a factory load in a 308 with a 220 grain. At least I didn't. You might have a source, but I have never seen one. But the hand loading manuals did list one number, 2,250 feet per second with a 220 grain bullet in that little 308. That's plenty for shooting an animal. I can promise they're not going to like it, but look what the 30-06 does, 2,550 feet per second, 300 feet per second more velocity. Sorry, guys, the 30-06 is the winner here. Now, does that mean it's the one you should hunt with? Does that make a better rifle? Does it make it the rifle to use and throw the 308 out? I don't think so. Because the 308 has a lot of features that the 30-06 doesn't. Mostly, it's a half-inch shorter. Fits your short-action rifles. Guys love that. Whether or not cycling at a little bit of difference makes significant difference, I don't think so. I mean, it's not the cycling, it's just the feel of it. I just like a short action rifle for carrying. It's not a big deal. You're saving a little bit of weight, but it's a little more compact. You're going to have a little bit shorter rifle overall with the same length barrel. Some advantages to it. If you like short actions, you are not sacrificing much shooting a 308 instead of a 30-06. But if you're a stickler for wringing the last little bit of performance out of your cartridge in a 308, you're all shooting the same diameter bullets here, you might as well go with the 30-06. I mean, I've got a beautiful Model 70 Winchester and a 30-06 that I've taken a lot of game with, and I've never once felt like, man, I just cannot cycle this thing fast enough. It just plain works. It's the old workhorse, has been around forever. So you got a 30-06, you got a 30-06 short. Take your pick, guys. They both work beautifully. If you want to see these two in action, go to Hootie Hoo's channel. Hootie Hoo has a channel out there that does a lot of crazy stuff out in the field shooting, a lot more than I do. So he has tested both of these against cinder blocks, 30-06 and a 308 Winchester, pushing the same bullet into a cinder block. I don't know how many of you hunt cinder blocks, but you're going to want to see the difference between how many blocks they can break through between these two. Hootie Hoo's got a great little channel. You want to check him out. We'll put the link here for you. I'm going to tell you about the 300 Savage here in a bit, but before I go there, I do want to invite you to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button, all that good stuff. That always helps us out. And if you want to see more details on this, I'm going to run some long numbers on the ballistic drops and the energy and the deflections and stuff between these two on rsotv.com. That's a long version of this that really looks into the detailed numbers on the drops and drifts and everything else. There is a little bit of advantage in having a 100 feet per second faster bullet coming out of that 30-06. And then when you get into the heavier ones, it's huge. So you might want to check that one out. Also, got to thank our patrons on Patreon. They really help out. They suggest these topics, and they support us and enable us to keep these big lights going and run these cameras and the computers and everything else. So really appreciate it, all our patrons. If you would like to join us there, just go to patreon.com, Ron Spomer Outdoors, and look for our sister YouTube channel, RSO. And on that one, we're doing podcasts and answering reader questions. So we'll pull questions off of videos like this and answer those off the top of our head. It's kind of fun because I depend on my audience to straighten me out. So the 300 Savage, I want to do a video on this one. We're going to have that one coming up fairly soon because a lot of guys say the 308 Winchester was made from the 300 Savage. And I've got a bone to pick with you guys on that one because the history suggests maybe that's not quite right. And when we do that one, we're going to pull in some other historical stuff, 857 Mauser, 757 Mauser. There's an interesting history amongst all these cartridges. We're going to pull those in. So stay tuned for the next episode when we're going to cover the 300 Savage. Hey, Ron Spomer, thanks for watching. Hunt honest and shoot straight.